Members of this class of 2020 have experienced several unavoidable storms in the last few months as they concluded their senior year. But the fact that all of you are here tonight tells me that you are learning to dance in the rain.
Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Shue, proud to be the interim superintendent of Jeffco Public Schools and your host for this special program about an individual who has had an incredible impact on our district over the course of a 51-year career in education. That individual is Ron Mitchell, who is heading off to a well-deserved retirement. Hi Ron.
How are you, Christopher?
I'm doing well, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the fact that you're willing to have this conversation with me. I really do.
It's an honor, sir. So you first joined Jeffco as a substitute teacher in September of 1969.
When I started as a substitute, that was the job that was available at the time, frankly. And the most important thing I remember about that, Christopher, is that I would be in a different classroom or in a different teacher's classroom almost every day, and I would sort of borrow a copy of the materials that they had laying around, if there were many copies. If they were, there were 35 copies for students, I'd put one in my briefcase, honest to God, and I was collecting lesson ideas and plans from my substitute teaching. The first day in front of a class, I'm not sure I remember, except I remember that I felt pretty inadequate at first. But by the third year, I was getting somewhat comfortable.
And that was a Jeffco school. That was Arvada West.
It was.
Correct?
It was.
All right. So after that time teaching at Arvada West, you moved into a series of administrative jobs beginning in 1973, eventually becoming a first-time principal at Alameda in 1981. Could you talk about that position?
I was appointed as the principal at Alameda when I was 35 years old, and I do remember that well. I walked into the school the next day, kind of toured the building a little bit, drove through the community, sat down in the chair and said, oh my God, what have I done, and what exactly am I responsible for now? And it was a very humbling experience. I had lots to learn, but honestly, what helped me was that I would ask myself the question, if I'm this far removed from the classroom and direct contact with the students every day, how do I make a positive difference for this entire organization? And when you start asking those questions of people who are experienced, and I had, again, lots of mentors, Jeffco mentors who were willing to teach me, you ask those questions and they begin to help you develop a picture of how you make a difference when you're in that role as the principal of a school.
Talk a little bit more about that, if you would, just for individuals who are administrators now or thinking about being administrators. You talked about making that impact and figuring out what it is that you could do to make a difference. Can you give any advice for our aspiring administrators or current administrators in Jeffco or outside of Jeffco?
Well, that's a topic that we could spend hours on, Christopher, and we don't have hours today. But if I try to bring it down to some significant statement, the one thing that you can work on from the principal's office or from the principal's role, you don't have that direct impact on students every day, but you can create an organizational climate, you can create a culture, you can help create expectations for staff and students and yourself. And the other piece that I would say was critical learning to me was that when things go well, for God's sake, give the people who made it go well credit for making it go well. Don't take the credit for yourself because you don't need to. If you give it to them, it will come back to you tenfold.
So Ron, before we finish, we wanted to share a few messages from some of our Jeffco folks about what you've meant to us.
You've done an amazing service to our profession, to Columbine, but also to Jeffco. It is well deserved that you get to be retired and enjoy your family and just live your life however you want to live it. Just know that so many people are thankful for you and the work you've done, and I am so thankful for what you've done for me.
Thank you for your leadership, compassion, and strength to Jeffco over the years. For me, you've been a role model, a mentor, and friend.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for your incredible leadership. You've provided a voice of calm sense-making in some very challenging times.
I appreciate that personal connection with you. Each time I saw you, we would sit down and you had specific questions for me. Always made me feel so valued.
Hearing about your service during the Vietnam War, and really appreciate that. And I share that with you in my own experience in the Marine Corps. And you were just as dedicated to Jeffco schools as you were to our country. Many traits of your leadership remain throughout the school district, and from principal to principal, we all learned from some of the best that you taught, and so that legacy lives on.